if you're the kind of reader who loves vampires that smolder, weather witches who flirt, and some dragons hiding in the bayou, then this is your episode. We are heading to one of the most magical and mysterious and totally paranormal hotspots, New Orleans. Welcome to Reading Under the Covers, a romance novel podcast where we chat, fangirl, and maybe even swoon over our favorite reads. I'm Francesca from Under the Covers Book Blog, and today we are packing our bags and heading for a town full of magic, mystery, and a little bit of mischief. We are going to New Orleans. Now, there is, of course, good reason why so many paranormal romances or urban fantasies are set in New Orleans. The vibe is absolutely perfect for it. Between the rich history, the mix of cultures, some of the spooky legends, and that ever-present feeling that something is just beyond the veil. If you've ever visited New Orleans or if you've ever watched it on TV shows or movies, you probably are aware that there's a lot of voodoo, haunted houses, some secret societies, plenty of cemeteries that are practically characters in their own right. So it's not too much of a stretch to imagine vampires, witches, or any supernatural shenanigans that are going to take place there. The setting is absolutely perfect for the vibes that you're going to want in a paranormal romance or urban fantasy book. So anytime there's something supernatural, the New Orleans setting will help it come through even more. Now, if you want other genres that are also set in New Orleans, we've done a whole deep dive on the blog with books that are set in New Orleans. So we've got contemporary romances, romantic suspense, historical romances, mysteries and thrillers, even cozy mysteries, urban fantasies, all the things. So I'm going to leave all of those links in the description box down below so you can check out even more recommendations for books that are set in New Orleans. They're all going to bring a different kind of vibe that brings that New Orleans flair to that particular subgenre. But for me personally, anything paranormal and supernatural is always the most perfect with this setting. And maybe that goes back to my teenage years and my love for Anne Rice. And yes, absolutely, when I visited New Orleans, I did have to go through some of the sites that are famous from her books. If you ever get the chance, I definitely recommend that you do that. But in the meantime, we definitely have the books that are going to help you travel to that location and bring all of that to you. So let's get started with those books. Today we are exploring 5 paranormal romances that are all going to bring a different level of heat and haunting to you. Kicking things off with a vampire novella. So this one is short, it's sultry, and the perfect kind of snack. And it's also a great introduction for you to explore this series even more. This is Enticed by Blood by Laurie London. It's part of the Sweet Blood series. So that is a vampire romance series. You can read it as a standalone. So this is just going to be the perfect quick bite. And I do mean that literally, that will introduce you to Laurie London and the series as well. So it's a great one to sink your teeth into. This episode will be full of puns. Maybe I'm not sorry. Now, the setup for this one is classic second chance romance, and it's got a vampire, of course, in it. So our heroine, Julie Bishop, is a stockbroker who flies into New Orleans to handle some family business for her dad, and instead she runs straight into her past in the form of Andre, who is her ex, now is this rich, powerful, and not human anymore vampire. So yes, he's now a vampire, and of course he wasn't when they were dating, and he also has ties to a secretive supernatural underworld. He is, of course, not over Juliet, and honestly, she's not over him either. So the story has that quick hit intensity, and I personally think novellas do that really well with second chance romances. It wastes no time into getting to the tension, emotional and physical both. You've got the classic vampire draw, the mysterious danger that's swirling in the background, and the emotional baggage of that breakup that never quite got closure. Now, the New Orleans setting adds the perfect moody, sexy backdrop to all of this. So if you've never thought about a billionaire vampire romance without any cliffhangers, then this is the perfect one to pick up, especially because you don't have to commit to a really long story. I think this is less than 80 pages. So it's ideal for testing out if the writing in this series would be something that interests you. I have personally really enjoyed the series, so I think that is a great place to get a bit of a taste. Now, the second book is also on the shorter side, and it's Summer Heat by J.C. Burton. This is the first book in the Storms for All Seasons series, which is J.C. Burton's paranormal romance series that is about magic, steam, and some weather witchery. So now J.C. Burton usually is more known for her contemporary romance romance, but definitely also check out her paranormals. They're a little bit older, a little bit steamier. And we have Aiden Storm, who is from a New Orleans family that's got this mystical link to the elements. He knows how to use the summer heat to his advantage, especially in the bedroom. So casual flings are kind of his thing until he meets Melissa Cross. Melissa is a no-nonsense Boston girl who finds herself totally out of her element in New Orleans. She's very buttoned up, logical, and just trying to get her work done. But Aiden, he's just wearing his cargo shorts and there's rain all around him, sometimes inside. That chemistry between them is undeniable, but what makes this one really fun is the magic that weaves into that romance. This one is light, it's playful with some enchanted thunderstorms. So it's one of those books that doesn't take itself too seriously. Short, fun, flirty with that magic that makes New Orleans feel alive and glowing with possibilities. If you love that small burst of romance with a lot of heat and a bit of whimsy, this would be the perfect kind of beach read for your paranormal binge. And Aiden is definitely the kind of hero who knows how to cool things down and exactly when not to. All right, so now let's shift gears from stormy summer hookups to full-blown zombie apocalypse. Run by Gillian Zane is the first book in the NOLA zombie series. This one is chaotic, it's steamy, and it's absolutely action-packed. If you're into survival romance with high stakes and higher heat, this one needs to be added to your list. It follows Alexis Winter, who's been prepping for the end of the world for years, just not while stuck in downtown New Orleans on a Saturday. She's got a house full of supplies out in the suburbs, but first she has to get there. So the streets right now are just full of the Walking Dead. And our hero, Blake, he is ex-military, all alpha, and totally the guy that you want on your side when the world is falling apart. So they immediately have this chemistry. The stakes, of course, are literally life or death, and there's danger around every corner, but they still manage to find time for some seriously hot tension. And yes, that tension does get acted on, even if there are zombies nearby. This book is fast-paced and it doesn't hold back. It's gritty and also violent, but also is sexy and surprisingly emotional. And actually, Gillian Zane is a local New Orleans author, so you're really gonna get that extra authentic vibe with it. If you want something that is a bit different than your paranormal romance lineups, I think this one is great because it blends a bit of that horror, heat, and the heroics of that situation. But it does have that intense side because yes, they are running for their lives. Next, we're gonna do something a bit cozier. We're gonna go into New Orleans adjacent. We're gonna go to the Bayou right now to How to Date Your Dragon by Molly Harper. This one is full of magic, mystery, and it's got a swoony dragon shifter. This is also the first in Molly Harper's Mystic Bayou series, and the fact that it's set in the Bayou will give you just a different perspective of a New Orleans story as well. So this one takes place in Mystic Bayou, which is a small hidden town where supernatural creatures and humans live together in relative harmony. We have anthropologist Jillian, who is sent there on a mission, which is basically to study the town's unusual population and help the League of Interspecies Cooperation, who are prepping for a future where humans might start to notice all of these non-human residents. She is expecting a very quiet research trip. What she gets when she gets there is actually Bale. He is the town's grumpy sheriff and, surprise, a dragon. The banter between them is sharp, the chemistry is slow burn and satisfying, and the setting is just full of southern charm. There are mermaids swimming in the bayou, gator shifters fixing boats, and dragon breath lighting up crab boils. So it's got that perfect cozy small town feel with all of the Louisiana bayou charm and just enough bite to keep things exciting. Jillian is smart, is curious, and she's definitely not there for anyone's nonsense, including Bale's, but the more she gets to know the town, the harder it is to stay detached, especially when that dragon is watching her every move. This one is perfect if you love quirky paranormal communities, cinnamon roll monsters, and a little southern sass. Think Gilmore Girls, but with shifters and supernatural politics. It's flirty, it's funny, it's a great palate cleanser if you need a break from some darker paranormal reads or just dark romance in general. Plus, it's a full series, so if you like the vibe, you can dive into the whole Mystic Bayou series. And now I want to close things out with what I consider is the classic paranormal romance set in New Orleans, and that is Night Pleasures by Sherilyn Kenyon. This is the first book in the Dark Hunter series, and I feel like we cannot talk about paranormal romances set in New Orleans without talking Dark Hunters. This is truly one of the classics, and if you've never read Sherilyn Kenyon, this book is like stepping into the early 2000s paranormal gold. It's got a heavy dose of angst, some action, and a lot of swoony drama. So Kyrian is our hero. He is a Dark Hunter sworn to protect humanity from the things that go bump in the night. He is ancient, immortal, and spends his nights slaying demons. But then he wakes up handcuffed to Amanda. She is a human accountant who is very much not signed up for any of this, and that's where all the chaos breaks loose. She is being hunted, and he is her only hope. Of course, now they're stuck together. What unfolds is kind of like the classic fated mates, grumpy immortal meets normal girl kind of romance, where there is lots of banter, danger, some swoony moments in between. Amanda, our heroine, is feisty and funny, and Kyrian is the perfect mix of tortured hero and protective alpha. Let me tell you, nobody can do a tortured hero like Sherilyn Kenyon, so if you like tortured heroes, prepare for that. Plus, the New Orleans setting is used in full effect here. You'll actually want to keep notes of all of the landmarks, and if you ever visit New Orleans, you can totally do a fan tour of the city based on this series alone. Night Pleasures has that nostalgic paranormal feel, especially if you grew up reading vampire hunter romances, and it still holds up if you're new to the series. Also, it's now available on Kindle Unlimited, so if you've been curious about diving into the world of the Dark Hunters, then this is a great time to do it. And that's it for our Love on Location adventure through paranormal romances set in New Orleans. We've covered a bit of a variety of romances here with different kind of creatures, and each one brings their own flavor of NOLA magic. So whether you want something that's dark and broody, light and quirky, or just full-on post-apocalyptic, there's something here that should hit the spot. If you're still in the mood for more New Orleans set reads, don't forget that you can check out the blog. I've got lists for cozy mysteries, thrillers, historical romances, contemporary romances, urban fantasies, all the things. And we even did a bonus recommendation list over on Substack last year with voodoo, paranormal romances, and urban fantasies. As always, I would love to know what are your recommendations for paranormal romances that are set in New Orleans, so leave those in the comments. If you're tuning in from YouTube, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell notification so you don't miss any content from us. And head over to Substack and subscribe for free so you don't miss any content that we post across all of our platforms. But for today, that's all I have for you guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!